Hey, Coyote fans! My name is Nick, and I am an admissions counselor and recruiter here at California State University, San Bernardino. Today, I will be walking you through the first part of the Cal State application. In this video, I will show you how to create your account and how to complete Quadrant 1. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright, so the first thing that you want to do is open up a web browser. I am using Google Chrome. And then in the search bar, let's go ahead and type in calstate.edu/apply. And so this will bring you to the application website. You need to scroll down a little bit until you see select a term to apply for. Go ahead and select the term you wish to apply for. Then click Apply Now. So if this is your first time on the Cal State Apply website, you're going to need to create an account. Now we need to create an account. We have to fill out this form, and we only need to fill out the required fields indicated by a red asterisk. But feel free to fill out the entire form if you would like. I'm just going to fill out the required fields. So first I need to type in my legal first name, my last name, my email address, and then I need to confirm my email address. Please use an email address that you check regularly and that you will still have access to after you graduate from school. Then type in your preferred phone number. And then agree to text and phone authorization. Next, we need to create a username and password. Pay close attention to the instructions on the username. It must be at least 6 characters long. So let's go with Nick at CSUSB. And then your password must be a minimum of 8 characters and contain at least 1 lower and uppercase letter, 1 number, and a special character. So notice I tried to make my password the same as my username. Password cannot contain username. So let's try that again. There we go. Then we need to confirm your password. Agree to the terms and conditions. And lastly, answer this question. Are you currently located in a European Union country, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, or Switzerland? No. And then click Create My Account. Alright, now we need to set up your extended profile. This is information on what degree you are pursuing and what type of student you are now. So the first question is, what degree, credential, or certificate are you applying for? Let's go ahead and click First Bachelor's Degree. This means you are seeking your first bachelor's degree and have not earned a prior bachelor's degree. Then it's going to ask you, which of the following best describes your current educational status? Are you a graduating high school senior or equivalent? Are you transferring with an associate's degree for transfer? Or are you just transferring from a community college or a 4-year institution? Let's go ahead and click Graduating High School Senior. Next, it's going to ask if you have taken and earned college credits through a community college or university while at high school. I'm going to say yes. Question number 2 is asking about your military status. Have you ever served in the United States military? Click drop down. You can see all of the options here. I'm going to say no, I have not served in the US military. The last question is asking if you are an international applicant. Do you have or will you require an F1 visa or J1 visa to study at the California State University? We can click yes. We can click no. If we select no, it's going to ask what US state do you regard as your permanent home? I'm going to say California. Alright, now we need to add a program, also known as a major. Please know that this application is used by all 23 Cal states. So you can see here, Bakersfield is listed, followed by Cal Poly Humboldt. So if you want to find a specific school, I recommend going up to this filters button. Then click on campus, see all, and now I can see all of the Cal states listed here. And here's CSU San Bernardino. Let's go ahead and click that box and close out of this. Now I can see all of Cal State San Bernardino's majors offered for the term that I selected. So go ahead and pick one major. I'm going to pick administration with a concentration in entrepreneurship. That's the major I want. Once I've selected that major, let's hit continue. This is the screen that you will see next. On this screen, you can see all of the Cal states that you selected and the major that you selected at each Cal state. You'll also see total fees as of right now. This number might change depending on the information you submit in your application. Let's go ahead and click Continue to my application. Alright, now we are on the main application page. And so the application is broken up into 4 quadrants: personal information, academic history, supporting information, and program materials. In today's video, I will be walking you through the personal information quadrant. On this page, you can see your name, your Cal State Apply ID number, and if you made an error on your profile or extended profile, you can click the drop-down arrow next to your name and navigate back to those pages. There's also a link to the Help Center if you are having issues filling out the application. If you selected the wrong major, you can click the Add Program tab to go ahead and select a different major. But let's go ahead and jump right into personal information. The personal information quadrant is broken up into 8 sections. Let's go through each section one by one. The first section is a release statement. This release statement says that everything that you have provided in this application is complete and accurate. Go ahead and check the box here. Next, it's going to ask about your California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress scores. If you've completed the CAA SPP test and you wish to release your results for the purpose of credit, placement, or determination of readiness for college-level coursework, you can check this first box. If you do not wish to have those results released, select the second option. And if you did not attend high school in California or did not complete the test, click the third option. I'm going to say option 1. Lastly, the application is asking if you authorize California State University to release your contact information to one or more CSU campuses that you wish to have contact you. Go ahead and check this box to acknowledge and hit save and continue. This will pop up and now you're ready to move on to the next section. Alright, this section is biographic information. Let's jump right into it. As you can see, your legal name is already filled out. If this is incorrect, please navigate to the profile section of your application to make the changes. First question, do you have any materials under a former legal name? If yes, select yes, and then type in your former first name and former last name. I do not have a former legal name, so I'm going to select no. Would you like to share a different first name that people call you? Do you have a preferred first name? If yes, select yes, and then type in your preferred first name. I'm going to select no. Moving right along, what is your legal sex? Are you female, male, or non-binary, meaning you are neither female or male? I selected male. This next question is asking about your sexual orientation. Do you consider yourself to be? If you select the drop-down box, you can see all of the options. I am heterosexual, also known as straight. Next, how do you describe yourself? Again, select in the drop-down box, you can see all of the options. I am a man. The last question is, how do you describe the way you express your gender identity in terms of behavior, appearance, speech, and movement? Select the drop-down box and you can see all of the options. Gender conforming means that if you are male, you identify with male stereotypes, and if you are female, you identify with female stereotypes. Gender non-conforming means that if you are male, you do not identify with male stereotypes, and if you are female, you do not identify with female stereotypes. I am gender conforming. Alright, next is birth information. You need to select your birth date. I selected February 2nd, 2000. Your country of birth. You need to type in your city of birth, your state of birth, and your county of birth. Alright, moving right along. Applicant information. Please read these questions carefully. At any time since you turned age 13, were both your parents deceased, were you in foster care, or were you a dependent or ward of the court? None of those apply to me, so I selected no. As determined by a court in your state of legal residence, are you or were you an emancipated minor? Meaning, were you free of custody from your parents? I was not. At any time on or after July 1st, 2022, did your high school or school district homeless liaison determine that you were an unaccompanied youth who was homeless or were self-supporting and at risk of being homeless? No, I was not. At any time on or after July 1st, 2022, did the director of an emergency shelter or transitional housing program funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development determine that you were an unaccompanied youth who was homeless or were self-supporting and at risk of being homeless? No. At any time on or after July 1st, 2022, did the director of a runaway or homeless youth basic center or transitional living program determine that you were an unaccompanied youth who was homeless or were self-supporting and at risk of being homeless? No. If you have any trouble answering any of these questions, please feel free to talk to a teacher or a counselor at your school, and they can help you answer these questions. Let's go ahead and save and continue. And then we'll click on Continue to Next Section. This next section is Contact Information. We need to type in our current address. So first, we need to select the country, the United States, and then we need to type in the street address. Then we need to type in the city, select the state, and look at that. The application found our address for us. I'm going to select yes. Scrolling down. If this is your permanent address, you select yes, but if it is not your permanent address, select no, and then you need to fill out this form for your permanent address. But this is my permanent address, so I'm going to say yes. As you can see, your phone number and email address is already filled in, so we are ready to click on Save and Continue. The next section is on citizenship and residency information. So, the first question, select the value that best describes your U.S. citizenship. And here are the options: U.S. citizen, permanent resident or green card, none for undocumented students, refugee, or other visa. I'm going to select U.S. citizen. And if I was born outside of the United States, what year did I or will I move to the U.S.? And I would type that here. Next, residency. Do you claim California residency? Yes. And have you lived in California continuously since birth? If I select yes, it will allow me to move on to the next section. If I select no, it's going to ask, when did your present stay in California begin? I need to enter the date here. If you don't know the exact date, get as close as possible. I'm going to say yes and hit Save and Continue. Under the question, select the value that best describes your U.S. citizenship. You would select none. And then you would answer the question, country of citizenship. I entered Mexico. Residency is completely different than citizenship. You will still claim California residency if you are undocumented. However, if you have not lived in California continuously since birth, you will need to enter the date when your present stay in California began. Again, try to get it as close as possible. Alright, let's hit Save and Continue. Notice how, under the first question, what U.S. state do you regard as your permanent home? California is already filled in. If this does not say California, and you do claim California residency, you are going to need to navigate to your extended profile. Scroll down. And under question 3, what U.S. state do you regard as your permanent home? Here is where I can make the change. Section, Race and Ethnicity. Please read each question carefully and answer as it best fits you. Ethnicity. With regard to your ethnicity, do you consider yourself Hispanic or Latino? Yes, no, or decline to state. I am not Hispanic or Latino, so I would select no. Race. Regardless of your answer to the question above, please select below one or more of the following groups in which you consider yourself a member. I am Asian. Then, subcategories pop up. Please select one subcategory below that best describes your background. I am Korean. Scrolling down. Summary. California State University often needs to report only one summary race or ethnicity description for a person. Please select your reporting preferences. So what do you want to report to California State University? I will say Asian. And then save and continue. Parent or guardian information. Enter demographic information about your parent or guardian. If you are a dependent student, you must list at least one parent or guardian. More information on dependent or independent status in the next section. Let's go ahead and open up Add a Parent parent/guardian. So this is what the screen looks like. Please answer each question as it pertains to your parent or guardian. So, first name, last name, and their relationship to you. Is it your mom, your dad, your guardian? This is my mom. Let's scroll down. Is your parent or guardian a current permanent resident of California? Yes. If I select yes, it's going to ask, has your parent or guardian lived in California continuously since birth? If I say yes again, I can move on, but if I say no, it's going to ask, when did your parent or guardian's current stay in California begin, and where did they live prior? If you don't know the exact dates, please get as close as possible. If I had said no to this question, it's going to ask, what U.S. state does my parent or guardian regard as their permanent home? But let's go ahead and say yes. They are a permanent resident of California, and yes, they have lived in California continuously since birth. Next, their mailing address. If it's different from yours, go ahead and enter a different address, but I'm going to enter my address. Okay. Feel free to enter their contact information if you'd like, it's not required, and then answer these two questions. Do you give permission for the admission office to communicate with your parent or guardian regarding your application? And do you give permission for your parent or guardian to receive university communications? I selected yes for both of them, and now I can hit save and continue. This will bring me back to add a parent or guardian, so I can add another parent or guardian if I have one. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next section, which I can do so on the left-hand side here. Section, Other Information. The first question in this section pertains to your Social Security number. Do you have a U.S. Social Security number? If yes, select yes and then enter your Social Security number in the box provided. If you do not have a U.S. Social Security number, you select no, and then select the box that says, I acknowledge that I do not have a U.S. Social Security number. If you know your statewide student ID, you can provide it here in this box. Language proficiency. What is your first language? Mine is English, but I can also add another language. As you can see, military status is already filled in, but the military dependent question needs to be completed. Are you the dependent of a person who is currently serving or who has previously served in the U.S. military? The options are no, or yes, and how did they serve? I'm going to select no. My parents or my guardians did not serve in the U.S. military. Academic standing. Are you in good standing with your last school attended? If you were expelled or dismissed, then you are not in good standing with your last school. These next few questions are academic infractions and conduct questions, so please read them carefully. Have you ever been disciplined for academic performance? I'm going to say no. Have you ever been academically disqualified? I'm going to say no. Have you ever been disciplined for student conduct violations? I'm also going to say no. Teacher or other education credential information. If you are interested in becoming a teacher, you will answer this question. Select your interest in obtaining your teacher or other educational credential. If you're not interested, select not interested. But if you are interested, you need to answer if you are planning to apply to a credential program at a later time or for this term. I'm going to say not interested. CalFresh. Are you interested in checking your eligibility for monthly food assistance to be used towards groceries through the CalFresh program? For more information, you can visit this website, but I'm going to say no. California Promise. Are you interested in participating in the California Promise program? Again, for more information, feel free to visit this site, but I'm going to say no. How did you hear about us? There are a lot of options here. I'm going to say that a counselor or advisor told me about Cal State Apply. Now I'm ready to save and continue. It's time to move on to the last section. The last section in Quadrant 1 is financial and parental information. The first thing that you need to do is read all of these statements very carefully. Once you are done reading them, you need to determine if one or more of the above statements apply to you, or if none of these statements apply to you. If one or more of the above statements apply to you, then you are considered an independent student, and you will go ahead and complete your household size, number of dependent children living with you, and your income for 2021. If none of the above statements apply to you, select that option. You are considered a dependent student. And this is where you're going to need to get your parent, your step-parent, or your guardian to help you fill out this information. You're going to need to fill out the total size of your parents' or step-parents' household in 2021. So how many people were living in the house? Let's say 4. Then you're going to need your parents' adjusted gross income for 2021 and your parents' untaxed income and benefits for 2021. I'm just going to put 50,000, put 0. The next question is asking if you are interested in campus housing. If you are, select yes, and you will receive an email about campus housing at a later time. Then you need to enter your parent or guardian's highest level of education. So my dad has a master's degree, and my mom only has a high school diploma. Save and continue. If you filled out all of those sections correctly, this is what Quadrant 1 should look like now. You'll see that the circle is entirely green and that 8 out of 8 sections are completed. You're ready to move on to Quadrant 2. Well, that is it for today's video. I want to thank you for watching. I know it was a lot of information, but I do hope it was helpful. We will be going over the other quadrants in later videos, so please keep an eye out for those. But until then, if you have questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. I've provided our contact information and our website, where you can find a lot of other great resources. Until next time, I'm Nick Clements, and go Yotes!